Alrighty, welcome back to the Troubleshooting Life podcast. This is your host, Jay Peters, with my lovely co-host, Craig Poston. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. How you doing?
Doing well, man. You know, it's been a pretty chill week,
Yeah,
working from home from
Yeah.
like the entire week, with all these, but so much meetings, man. Just because you're working from home doesn't mean you ain't working.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
those meetings were exhausting me
yeah.
the
Well,
entire
it's like
time.
it's like that every time. It doesn't matter if it's in person or if it's at home. The
Uh,
only difference is I can keep snacking while they're talking.
oh yeah, no doubt. I actually like the in person because I'm not like an incredibly social person, but when it's like around a community that's very similar to me, right? You know, like the IT community, cyber
Yeah,
community, right? It's just easier for me to talk to them, right? It's like the observation of like Heisenberg's principle, right? Like
yeah,
the observed changes its behavior
yeah,
based on who is observing it,
yeah.
right? So but you put me at a bar. Oh no, I'm a mouse, bro. Don't even like I'll be in that corner just like sipping water. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. You know, the funny thing is, I was like that for a good little while. I think between college and military, I think that kind of got me out of my
Oh,
shell. Yeah, because I mean, I still never dance, especially if I go to a
yeah.
club or something like that. Like,
Nope.
but like, yeah, just to go hang out, talk to people. Yeah, I would still go do that. But no, no, yeah, I probably was that same guy too. But it took time, and then I opened up more,
Oh,
and yeah, gained more confidence, stuff like that.
oh. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm confident enough just not to go. I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. You know, maybe that'll be one of my other growth opportunities. Go socialize more.
Well, I mean, honestly, we probably should do that anyway, and especially if we want to build our brand that we're trying to do, we probably
Hmm.
should go ahead and and definitely get out there. I know with COVID, it kind of messes everything up. COVID
Yeah,
has slowed everything down,
no
because that's why
doubt.
I want to go ahead and do a Toastmasters. I don't know if you know,
Yeah,
there's one on this side of town where I
yeah,
live.
yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
there's some all around San Antonio. I remember I was
yeah,
trying to go to one when I was like starting my bachelor's because
yeah,
I try to do like gap assessments, of myself, right?
yeah,
Like what skills or soft skills do I lack,
yeah,
just to improve upon, right? Like what do I think will benefit me and then benefit my future.
yeah,
And one of them was not just public speaking but just speaking in general. And I had heard about Toastmasters where it kind of just forces you out of that comfort zone,
yeah.
and you kind of just have to like I think one of your first times is like you have to give like an elevator speech about you, like that 30-second like quick speech, um, and they kind of like the thing of the podcast. They kind of give you like your critiques, right? You kind of take that as it is, and then as you keep going, you kind of get more comfortable and you become a better
Yeah.
speaker, right? So like
Yeah, that's
if someone were to like listen to this right now, every time I say they'd probably be like slapping me or something like, or giving me a dink on
yeah,
my school.
yeah. So when I know our not all of our viewers or listeners would know about this, but like uh by me being used to being active duty in the Army, we had advanced leader course, and one of the things we had to do was actually speak in front of the class for 8 minutes. We had to do it in flat 8 minutes. You get dinged for less, you get dinged for more. And then the one of the things the instructor did in the back, she was like taking notes every time we said and would let us know how many and you would not believe in an 8 minute period how many times you could say it. You could
Oh
like
yeah,
literally, I think mine might have been 95 times. Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but it's in an 8 minute period, so you don't notice it because it's such a long time. But yeah, it was actually pretty cool to find that out, which kind of makes me want to try to control it.
Yeah.
And then,
I think as you continue talking, as you continue to get that feedback or criticism, you kind of just kind of build into it, right?
yeah,
And I think it's a lot of it is like my mom used to tell me like think before you speak, right? And sometimes if we're just caught off guard, we're not thinking before we speak. We kind of just say what comes to our mind as quickly as possible. But yeah. Because it's uhs, ahs, like, because they're called vocal pauses, right? Because you're you're literally stopping either in the middle of a sentence or after a sentence or whatever you're saying.
Yeah, it was funny. My grandmother used to kind of mess with me when I would do that. She'd say something like, "If you say you're dumb," or something like that. Because it was just because you would actually say it so many times you don't realize it.
Or you become kind of annoying, especially as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, but and I guess that kind of leads into our topic where we're talking about seeking criticism, not confirmation. Where you would actually get your criticism by being in front of people. So like how we're talking about Toastmasters would be one of those things where you would be seeking criticism so you can become better. Because not always seeking confirmation from people. You don't know if there's some type of agenda they have, their biased opinion or whatever it is, so you have to watch who you seek this confirmation from.
I think it's a good growth topic too, because sometimes we feel like we're seeking criticism, but it's from people that may not provide criticism. For example, your family may not provide proper criticism, your friends, right? People that you trust, right? You're expecting these people to provide you criticism, but in most realities, they're just going to provide confirmation to what you said. They're like, because if you ask them like, "Oh, was that good?" They're like, "Oh yeah, that was great. You should keep going. Keep going." You should start a singing career. Keep going.
Well, I mean, you have to do that for children, because guess what? They're going to meet so many people in the world who are going to tell them they are trash. So like getting the positive affirmations from someone you love can boost you up, because you don't know where you would land. Right. Yes. Yeah. Your kid sounds like nails on a chalkboard, but like, if you give them the right leadership and go like, "Okay, all right, baby, you sound okay, but let me get you some classes and we're going to kind of boost you up and get you to where you want to be."
But right there, right? That's not. Actually, let's go back to this. Well, what is the delineation though? Like you said, for children, right? And I think that's a huge thing, especially as you're young, when you continuously receive confirmation, and then anyone in the world gives you some sort of criticism, whether that's constructive, unconstructive, whatever it is. You just break down. Right, or the child, or as they're trying to grow up, they just break down. So they don't seek criticism; they're always going to seek for confirmation, because that's all they ever receive. So what is that like for you, especially as a parent? What is it? Either an age limit or a maturity limit for you to say, "Hey, I can't continue to confirm or affirm their either behavior or their accolades. I need to actually provide them proper criticism and actually help them grow."
Well, I think and see me, I'm still a learning parent. I haven't got to the teenage years yet, but I'm thinking that would be in the teenage years, because at this point you're trying to prepare them for life. Once they get to, because after they get to a certain point, they're listening to you, but they're not listening to you. And then this is when, it's time for them to see life. So when they hit 18, it's time for them to see life. So I think during those teenage years, like the early teenage years, which they're all still moldable between all those years, from that 13 to 19. They're still all
25 or something.
Yeah, you're still moldable in those years, but it's just now you're becoming on your own. You're super hard headed in a way to say it, right? But I think starting them as a child, right? Giving them, saying you got to give them that positive feedback. But then as they start hitting the teenage years, you got to let them know, okay, now we got to get serious. We got to get reality in there. All right. You right now, you think you're a superstar at math. Let me tell you the truth. You're not. There are many people out there who are probably better than you in math. But what you need to do is always practice to get better. So that's kind of like one of those things. I always wanted to not be that one to tell your kids they're smart all the time. Oh, you're smart. Yeah. You're smart. Because in reality, there's a lot of smart kids out there. There are like exceptional kids out there. And the thing is, you don't want them to come into contact with that exceptional kid. And now your child feels defeated because now they realize they're not the smartest kid anymore. So like,
and that's the thing, right? Like, yeah, no, it's a hard transition, right? Because sometimes it's like cold turkey, like night and day. Like one day, you feel like you're the man, you feel like you're the best, whether that's at academics, at sports, whatever it is. And then, someone else comes along, anyone else comes along, and you're not, you come to the realization that you are not as good as, someone said, like your parents said you were. Right?
Yeah.
And then like, when you're talking about like someone saying that their kid is smart, right? And we've had this conversation before, but, I realized that, being smart isn't everything, right? Like it doesn't matter if you're smart. It really doesn't. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you should be incredibly dumb or anything, or but what I'm saying is that only being smart, only having that one card to play isn't enough. Like you need to find some sort of skills or skill set to capitalize on.
Yeah. So just to go off of that, right? Which I was thinking about this one day. I was actually having a few drinks, and I was just thinking, how when people always tell you to have good grades, but good grades don't equal success. And then I was like writing down, like, okay, what equals success? Determination with good grades equals success, right? And then also, if you had determination and you had bad grades, you still can equal success. So that's the thing. The common denominator in this problem always is the determination. You're always gonna need determination to get to where you're going. You could be given money like hey, I'm gonna help you start this business, but if you don't have the determination to start the business and continue the business, then it doesn't matter how much money people feed you, or like I said, how many compliments or positive affirmations. It doesn't matter. Like you gotta have that determination along with it.
And I think going to that, right? It's not the end goal, the material, whatever it is. It's the process that it took to get there, right? Whether that's good grades, whether that's start or getting a successful business, right? It's when you said determination, I think of the consistency, the discipline, and the system that they use to get to that end goal. You're right. Because the end result doesn't really matter.
Sorry about that, man.
You're good.
I know we got this long blank period in here. We got to figure out how to cut that out. That's the lifestyle having a family. Like they forget that you have a time slotted, and it's emergency. I need to talk to you. And it was
everything's an emergency. Yeah. Wow. I know everything's an emergency, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, sorry to interrupt, man. Yeah.
I was just talking about like that, you were talking about grades specifically, right? But whether the end goal is grades or not, I think the more important part and the thing that really drives to success is the process, right? It's the
Yeah.
process that they took to get there, right? Because, for example, you know, being successful in the military, right? However you define that, the military, that career is still temporary, right?
Yeah.
Even, being a professional, ball player, right? That's temporary. That's not going to carry into other parts of your life, or it won't carry into everything of your life, right? It'll just be a temporary portion of that time. So you're hoping that while you were going through those things, while you're trying to build the company, while you're trying to be a successful ball player, while you're trying to be successful in the military, that it created a process or a system for you to follow after that, right? Because you can't give your position to your legacy, right? Like MJ didn't give his position on the Bulls or on the Wizards to his children, right? But what he did is he built enough wealth, he built a system for them to create their own legacy, their own system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thinking about Michael Jordan, that right there, that's determination for sure. Because he didn't start out as the superstar. Like I remember they showed videos. Yeah, they showed him as being like very clumsy and stuff like that. So yeah, and then
he still talks about it, right? Like how he got kicked off the high school team.
Yeah.
Right. And like a lot of people, like they won't chastise him, but they'll always ask him, like, why do you talk about that, right? You played for the Tar Heels, right? You play for the Bulls, play for the Wizards. You had this incredibly like successful career as a ball player. Why do you continuously bring up that moment all the way back in high school? And he's like, because it doesn't drive me like my successes do, or my successes don't drive me like that moment did, right? That was the determination that I was going to be a better ball player.
Yeah. And a lot of times people think that you're supposed to be born with these talents, but then they're actually skills that are attained like over time. And so if you put in the time and the effort to learn something new, you just created a new skill, and then you can perfect that skill by constantly polishing that skill. And then now you look like you are a person who was born with that skill or talent, as they say. So I think that's another reason why he brings it up. It's probably it's proof that hard work actually put him there.
Yeah, but people don't see that, right? People don't see the parts in the darkness, right? Like, no, hardly everyone sees you in the gym, right? But they see you when you show up to work, right? When you have the muscles, when you have the abs, whatever it is. They don't see all the work you put in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And it's the same with like all the ball players, right? Like, I've never seen any of the ball players like go to like practice every day, do whatever they need to do, wake up in the morning, but people watch their games.
Yeah.
Right. And the funny thing is that, people count their stats in the games, but they never counted the stats when they were practicing.
Yeah. And we don't know about those after hour practices that they did by themselves, or the people who they paid to come to their house to help them train or something like that,
Yeah, because I think, even Brady, right? He'll have like a few people come by like from his team. And like, I think one time, I forgot, like one of the stadiums were closed or for something, right? So he went to like a local high school field and was, practicing there with like a couple of the players on his team, right? So like, yeah, man, there's a lot of things in the background that people don't see, and that people, may or may not value, right? Because it's not tangible. It's not the things that they can measure in front of their face, right? When people see LeBron, they don't see the time he wakes up in the morning to where he practices, he works out, he still spends time with his family, he has to travel, he has to do all these things, he has to get ready. But what they see is that, I don't know how long a basketball game is, like an hour and a half of actual playing time, right? But they only see those, like that little highlight of his life, right? Well, that's not even, like, you could watch 24 games and that's at least 24 hours, right? But throughout those 24 games, however many days or however many hours went between those is what he actually did.
Yeah. Yeah. But I guess that, I'll get into like one of the questions I was going to ask you. Well, I don't know. Have you ever heard of confirmation bias?
No, what is that?
So confirmation bias is like when, like, so say somebody gives you criticism, but then you accept it because it is something that you believe in, or they talk about something that you believe in. So you like, oh yeah, you go along with it because it's like it kind of affirms your already thoughts and feelings. So yeah. So have you
whether
ever,
it's good or bad, right?
yeah, whether it's good or bad, but if it goes into your beliefs, then you accept it. Versus like, if somebody gave you negative criticism, right, then you would actually just kind of like, like, nah, that's not me. I never seen that person before. So like, have you ever been, or have a failed victim to that, I would say, of confirmation bias?
Oh yeah, no doubt. Dude, I am, man, especially as like a young kid, right? And like going back to academics, I was good as an academic. Like as a kid, like I never really had a problem, maybe with like English or literature or whatever it is. And even when I was like, say failing something, right? Like my parents would, it basically became excuses, right? Like they're like, oh man, you didn't have enough time, or that teacher sucks, right? Like we blame everything else. And they just affirmed me. And I was like, yeah, it's not me. It's everyone else. It is everyone else. Like, how could it be me when I'm like this genius kid, right?
Yeah.
And I fell into that trap. Like pretty deep. And I really didn't realize it maybe until high school, even joining the military, right? Because like, so the school I went through in the military, right, is for is cyber in general, and it's a drink from the fire hose type of course, right? I really need to go to Toastmasters, damn it. But yeah, no, it was really drink from the fire hose. You got 6 months. If you fail, then at that time, because I'm a reservist, right, I would have been kicked out of the military, right? Because I'm not guaranteed that job, or if I don't pass to get that job, then I'm not guaranteed to be in the military anymore. So I was like busting my butt, and that's when I realized I didn't know how to study, right? Because for the public school environment, right, you just kind of do what they're told, right? You follow whatever they say, whatever they're teaching, whatever syllabus they come up with, right? And as long as you hit the check marks, then you're golden. But when you have to study by yourself, when there are no like straight checkpoints or no like tangible checkpoints that they give you, it's harder to really understand stuff.
Yeah. I found out I didn't know how to study when I was in college. So and I had to take one of those courses because they'll make you take a course to help you study.
Learn how to take some Cornell notes.
Yeah, like
no, and I think I took a course like that in college too, like in my first semesters. But going through that, honestly, like, because at that time, we had class like almost 6 hours straight. After that, I'd go get lunch, go hit the gym, get back to my room, and I would just, knock out another 3 hours of studying, go get dinner, come back, knock out another 3 hours of studying. I wouldn't go to sleep till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I would wake up at 4:30, just to go get breakfast and then get ready, and get in formation and go to school at 6 in the morning. So no, like it showed me that while that was definitely a working harder, not smarter type of thing, it really helped me understand my learning style, and at least the amount of effort and execution I was willing to put when I'm in a situation or when I have my back against the wall, to not fail. But yeah, no, it was definitely a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of lack of sleep. But no, it paid off. It paid off in tons of dividends. Because after that, I went to college. College was, in my opinion, a piece of cake at that point. Just I went through all that in the 6 months. But yeah.
I know what you're talking about, because actually you kind of wake up a different part of your brain when you notice that you can learn so much in a short time frame. and the military is good at cramming stuff down your throat. So,
yeah,
once I realized that I could do that, I could probably do anything. And especially like these certifications that we have to get, like we're always like in a hurry to get them. Yeah, in a hurry to get them. And then it's like we learn all the material first, then we do the experience afterwards, because they're so in a hurry for us to have a certification.
Yeah. And I will say, like, the military in general, I'm not a big fan of everything in the military, but one of the big things I am a fan of is on the job training, right? Like actually going through the actions, doing that iterative process over and over again, to actually get it into your mind and kind of make it become part of you, right? Where it's just muscle memory at that point, kind of like working out, right? You got to get your form right. You got to make sure you're doing it good. Make sure you continuously do it, right? And like I said, just becomes like a memory to you.
Yeah. So here's another question. Let's see here. Have you had criticism that was hard to believe, or did you do your evaluation of it? Like okay, I believe you, but let me take a minute. Let me process this. Have you ever had that where you ran into somebody like that?
So, yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest one is, it was me and my girlfriend, right? And, not to go too deep into my relationship, but there are things that, she points out that I never would have thought to point out, right? And why I say, like, you should always have someone else like coach you or give you criticism is because you can't always point out all your flaws, right? And I'm not saying you can't, or you can't point out a lot of them. You definitely can, and I try to as much as I can. But no, like, for example, like me, a big gap for me is communication, right? And it's not like I can't communicate or I don't communicate properly. It's that in certain situations, I am more of a listener than I am of a talker, right? Which, I kind of learned as a kid is like a lot of people like to talk. So I was like, well, I won't be the talker. I'll just be the listener. Cause everyone just likes to freaking talk all the time. But no, it can be a bad thing, right? When someone is looking for that feedback or looking for any sense of like true active listening, I falter. So, but it took me a while to realize until she said something that, that's what it was, that's what she didn't like. And that's where a gap in my communication was.
Yeah. I mean, so sometimes when my wife tells me that, oh, I'm mean, or I say, because like she'll say I guess what it is, I would actually bring to her attention. She'll try to do something where she thought she was getting me, but then like I throw it back on her. Like she said, okay. So like just like how she said, okay, she wanted to lose a certain amount of weight by the end of this year, and then she was like, she tried to throw in my face that I haven't been walking the dog twice a day. She's like, you said you was going to walk the dog twice a day. And I was like, yeah, you also said that you were going to lose weight. That was a cold one. Like, yeah, most people were like, oh man, you said that? Like, yeah. But no, I was
below the belt, bro.
Yeah, well, the point being is, I wanted her to see that you can't throw stones in a glass house now. So like, and that was the thing, that is one of those things that come up all the time. And she just keep bringing it up, and that she wanted to lose weight. And I'm like, well, then do it. I'm fully supporting. We'll buy the groceries. We'll do what we need to do. But like, all you got to do. But I think that's always a common thing with women. They always think they should lose weight, and then when they decide to do it, it takes a minute. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say it's just women. Because I know a lot of guys that say it too. Like, I know a ton of guys, and of course women too. But what it is, at that point is that, they say it just to say it, honestly. Like, they say they want to lose weight just because, other people are saying it, right? But they don't actually have that want or desire to do it. Like, nothing is truly pushing them to want to lose weight, right? Because what do they want to lose weight for? And this is like what we were saying earlier, is that, like, what is that why, right? And what is the why behind that, right? Like, and honestly, a lot of people, they want to lose weight because they want to look better, or they want to feel more confident in their own skin, right? But like I said, that it's too shallow of a value, right? Where, just keep digging and digging into it, and I'm sure they'll find like a true reason to do it, or maybe not to do it, right? Maybe it's just not worth their time or their desire, or their priority in general, right? But that's too funny, bro. You're a
Well, no, but I think that's what she's gotten used to, me being like very direct, and I think her family kind of sees that too. I'm very direct. Like sometimes I kind of I pull back, like especially at work. I pull back because I'm like, I'm not ready for everybody to see the real me.
There you go, man.
Like,
nah, man.
Yeah.
That's too funny. No, dude, I was gonna say, because you're too nice at work. So
yeah, so I pull back because she always tells me I'm mean, and then I know I'm not. It's one of those things that I'm in a different environment now. Like I'm not in a military setting where I'm allowed to tell people exactly what it is that I see. When you're in a military environment, everybody's very direct with each other. Like, so you hardly ever see, you get used to that. And it's like, see, if you did something wrong, they're probably going to tell you. Most likely they're going to tell you, oh, they don't want to call you fat now, but they'll indirectly call you fat now. You know what I'm saying? They got different ways of doing it. Right. Like, so I think the military is very, very direct. And then when you,
because there's no point of, I don't want to say that word, but there's no point of playing with it, right? Like don't be so indecisive, because you need to be direct.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you keep playing with it, then nothing's going to happen. If you're direct, at least someone is notified. You're identifying it, right? And there's something to work on, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it is kind of douchey, but
well, see, in our setting, we're more in IT, we're around, because it's more, civilian, not necessarily military. So it's easy to offend them, or intimidate, so we don't want to come off like that, I
don't know, man. So me personally, I'm not gonna lie, I try to be as genuine as possible. And the reason why is because I can't pretend to be someone I'm not, so I won't. Right. So like the same Jay Peters you see at work is the same Jay Peters at home, the same Jay Peters in uniform, the same Jay Peters with my friends and with my family. Right. Like I don't change. Right. I may bleep out some words here and there, but no, I typically have no filter. I typically don't hold punches if I can. Right. No, it's just because I think it's too exhausting to do that.
It could be, yeah. But like I said, I think that's one of the things that, when we're getting ready to transition out of the military, off active duty, that's one of the things that they bring to our attention of how we are, and that we're direct. We're what is the other word that they always say about us? You're looking for this fast-paced environment. You're not going to get it. It's all the different things that kind of, or intimidating stuff like that. They tell us these things to let us know to kind of, because we're kind of like to dial back some, because it's like you're not gonna, I won't say fit in, but you're probably gonna make some people angry because they don't know how to take you, and that was one of the things that some people, I found out in the class, because I did the Hiring Our Heroes, and what we did on Fridays, we all talked about our experiences, and they would have people come in from previous cohorts and talk about what they dealt with. And one of them was they couldn't deal with how slow the pace was. That was one thing. And then a lot of, especially someone who's in a leadership position, they're going to be very direct. They're going to be like, I'm in charge, and then they don't like that wish-washy type attitude. So, that's the stuff that they were trying to bring to our attention, as we got out. And that's why I try to pull back. And probably in where we directly work, we probably can be a little bit more ourselves. But when we're in that office setting, we got to kind of dial it down.
That's when I don't talk. If I can't be me, I'm just silent. I'm just no, because I know I naturally just cuss. Right, and it's not because I'm in the military. It's not because I'm in the Navy. It's just how I grew up. So, and it's not my parents would always scold me about it too. they didn't really condone like cussing, but they never really stopped me.
Yeah.
So I just continued to do it. And it's not like, and it's so funny. Like so many people was like, oh man, cussing, for the uneducated, right? And I'm like, that's not necessarily true. I just don't feel like taking the time to learn another damn word to fucking say. So it's just crazy. Because sometimes there are no other words. But well, yeah, no, yeah. The
Yeah.
military is definitely a different culture versus the civilian or corporate lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what I had here. All right. Have you ever realized that the criticism that you were getting could be somebody's own biased opinion or their experiences? So say like
Yeah. Okay,
So
all right. So one of the biggest ones on that specific topic was when I was trying to buy my first property, right? So I was telling people, and a lot of people I was telling they were not of the same mindset of me of buying a property and either renting out units or renting out rooms.
Yeah.
Right. So the biggest thing, and a lot of people that probably invest in properties, the biggest thing that other people will tell you is like, oh man, you don't want to be a landlord, right? You don't want to deal with all that, right? And it was just so crazy. And I was like, and some people, maybe they did have properties and they did have a bad experience of being a landlord. And people will say that investing, right? They're like, oh no, man, you don't want to mess with options. Those are too risky, right? And I think it's just they had a bad experience, and they just kind of go with that experience, and I don't blame them for it, right? When you experience something, right, you put the stove is hot, you accidentally put your hand on it, you burn, you don't want to go near the stove, right? You know to keep your hand away from the stove, but you never fully understand, like, why was it hot? Oh, it was because mom and dad were cooking, right? It's not just because the stove decided to burn you, right? It's not just because like you had a property, the tenants were bad, you were in a bad area, right? They don't decide to analyze what happened. They just saw it for face value, right? And it's crazy. Like and even the people that give like tons of advice, like Dave Ramsey, Grant Cardone, right? They even Kevin O'Leary, like Mr. Wonderful, right? They give advice from their specific experiences. And while they're a little bit like of the older generation, they're set in their specific ways because each one of them are very successful in what they do, right? Each one of them makes a good living and a great amount of money. So why would they change, right? They have no reason to, so they're just going to continue to provide advice based off that specific experience.
Yeah. No, that's no, that I was trying to think of a situation where like I had to deal with that. But as you say, yeah, when it comes to investing, talking about real estate, talking about money, yeah, a lot of people they're not really into that, Yeah. So if we give our ideas about like, maybe we should do this, and this, and then their fears, their experiences start to doubt, come in. Oh yeah, I take it with my dad when I was going into the military. His whole thing was to try to keep me away from it, but it was because of his experiences. He actually joined when he was young, so like I think he kind of was groomed by the military and just dealt with whatever they gave him. But I joined a little bit older, which I knew that I've had some experience with life outside of the military. So I was like, so while I was in, I knew I had to do what they told me and what they trained me to do, but I knew I was planning for a different day. I was planning for a later day. So like, and the thing is, by going in, I got things taken care of. I got some debts paid off, all that. And it was all because I took a chance on, what I wanted to do versus just use somebody else's mindset. Because that was my dad's criticism on the military, just because he had a bad experience.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a lot of people, man. And the thing is, like, it does get to you, right? Like, and because one of the people that gave me the criticism about like not wanting to be a landlord was my girl's uncle, right? And I love the guy; he's great, and And then when he said that, I was like, dang, do I really want to be a landlord? But then I was like, bump him. He's not a landlord. What does he know? Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, people will even give like advice, and they've never even experienced it, right?
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I think I wrote it down. Is like, yes, seek criticism instead of confirmation, but only take criticism or take constructive criticism from someone that has constructed something,
Yeah.
right? For example, like, I'm not a father. Don't take any advice from me about being a father, right?
Yeah.
I'm a child, right? So I have a different perspective than a father would, right? Because I don't know what it's like to have to wake up every day, or not have to wake up, get to wake up every day and provide for the child, provide for another person that depends on me, right? I don't have that experience, so why would you ever take advice from me? Like, and if you would take advice, I would take it with a grain of salt and be like, he's still a kid, or he's still coming from the mindset of being a child, not a parent.
Yeah. Yeah, because definitely my my mindset now as a parent versus when I was single and had no children, totally different. Like I didn't want to be around kids. I didn't want. I barely wanted to date a female with a child. It was it was
barely.
Yeah, barely. Yeah, because exceptions.
Right.
But yeah, that's but yeah, definitely it's a different mindset. Which it turns out to be a great mindset to carry, because you might think a lot of yourself, but you think even more of yourself when people are dependent on you. Because now you know that if you fail, somebody else has got to deal with it. So you're more deliberate about things that you want to do. So another thing that I guess my motivation to like actually keep going when I'm dealing with the crappiest things, and realize like, okay, I can't quit a job like I used to. Now I kind of have to stick around just a little bit longer, even though I have a mercy fund, all this other stuff. But then it's kind of like, let's think about it. You can't just use emotions to drive you on everything. Now you got to think logically about everything you do. Like, okay, is it worth it to leave now, or is it just a bump in the road? You have to start thinking more logically. You have to sit down. You might even have to meditate for a little bit, just like to kind of go through the situation. All right, because now that people depend on you, and it's not just yourself. Because me, I used to have negatives in my account. Now I don't keep a negative in my account because that it's other people dependent on me. Like, so I want to make sure I always keep money available just in case something happens.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. It's just that's a different mentality, and that's sometimes I won't say it hinders me in any kind of way. It just makes me think more on the subject, right? Like I'm not just gonna jump. Like me and you said, we're gonna do an investment right now. I'm gonna probably do my due diligence more now than I probably would when I was younger with no children. I'll be like, okay, let's do it. Sometimes you need that get up and go, but then sometimes you need that time to reflect, do your due diligence, so you don't shoot yourself in the foot. You kind of just have to think the whole situation through, not just think about the part of why, we're going to make money. Okay, yeah, we want to make money, but we want the money to sustain. We want it to last a lot longer than just a quick moment.
Because it's a different level of risk, right? When it's just you, like, you can necessarily risk more than when it's you, your wife, and 2 kids, right? A house over your head, food on the table, and all of that starts to pile on. So that kind of brings your risk level a little bit lower. But you can make more calculated risk, right? Because you're starting to think things through more, right? Where some people say, at younger ages, right, they can take higher risks and just keep going because maybe they'll learn from those risks. Maybe they'll gain more experience from it, right? It's the saying, what is it? Fall forward or fall fast, fall hard, right? Whatever it is, and just get back up, right?
No, and that is true. And it doesn't matter if you're older. If you fall when you're older, it's fine. It's just it feels like it would hurt more, even though it's the same fall as if you were younger. And like long as you're a determined person and you want to keep going, you're gonna make it happen. And it's just like somebody has bad credit. It only lasts 7 years, and actually it doesn't even last the full 7 years if you know how to do it right. You know, you just you know the right people to talk to. You know, like or talking to your creditors, how to get out of those situations, pay them whatever they need just to make something happen. I mean, that's the thing. People, you look at it as a scary situation, but then it's not when you're in it. You know, when you're actually in it, now you're thinking, all right, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And I think that's why they say just go, just jump into it, because sometimes your best thinking is when the pressure is on.
Yeah. Well, because you learn stuff, right? You get to start experiencing things. You don't just get to conceptualize what would happen, right? You actually get to get the punches in, right? Get the reps in, and you actually learn from those, immediate mistakes, right? You can learn to adjust. And you can learn a lot of things. And, I think it was like Les Brown, he says it, right? Like, if you fall on your back, right? Because if you fall on your back, you can look up. And if you can look up, you can get up, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we're getting close to that. I think actually an hour. It might not be an hour. Could be.
I think it's about 30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Something like that.
Yeah.
Minus the long pause.
Yeah. I know we were trying to do what was that? I think we started out saying we're going to do 30 minutes, and then we just been blowing past that. Like,
wow. I mean, it happens, right? Good dialogue, good conversation, right?
Yeah.
So, I personally don't have a problem with it. However, my girlfriend does. So.
Well, okay. Well, then I guess we'll do our outro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do the outro.
Yeah. I got the outro, man. Yeah. So, all right. Signing off. This is Jay Peters and Craig Poston with Troubleshooting Life, and we'll see you next Friday.
See you next Friday.
All right.